Oh my god.
I'm dead.
I was handing it to her.
Oh, and she levitated us Los Manos right out the door.
Hey, you can't do that and then come back.
With the money.
Because once you come back, then
I ain't giving the money back.
I'm dead.
I got the right to hurt you because you just stole that money out of my hand.
You got a right to hurt who?
You.
Who?
Wow.
You know I move pretty fast now.
Is he threatening bodily harm?
You know I move pretty fast.
You know, that's what they all say. Hello, everybody. Y'all already know what time it is. But nah, I don't have anything extremely smart to say yet. Grand Rising Diamond, how are you, sweetie? I hope all is well. So, you guys, I just want to talk a minute, alright? We gonna talk a minute. So, last night, we watched a movie. We rented the movie, Antebellum.
Antebellum?
Not Auntie's Melon. Antebellum. And this was wasn't it the Jordan Peele?
That's Janelle Monáe?
Yeah, with Janelle Monáe in it, okay? Hey, sweetie. Hi, honey. Hi, you guys. So, yeah, last night I went on ahead and I rented the movie, Antebellum. And as most of you guys know, I like to watch movies and find sort of the spiritual meaning in a lot of the movies that we watch. Because I've noticed that as much as we claim, oh, they keep us from us, no, they tell us about us right in our faces. But with the training and the way that we've all been grown up and conditioned, we just don't believe in none of that. We be like, oh, that's a cool movie. It's great. Just like, for instance, one of my godchildren had mentioned the movie Eli off of Netflix and pretty much had broke it down to the point. Grand Rising, everybody. Hello. But had broke it down to the point that, it's pretty much about this little boy who possessed powers that were sort of demonic, and his parents were seeking for help, but the help that he got, they just, they didn't make it better, they made it worse. So with that being said, I've actually been through that. I've been through that myself. So I know exactly what they're talking about when, you're in a Christian background, in a Christian setting, and they really don't understand what you are, who you are, or anything of that nature. So it's a big conflict. Okay.
Lalo bomb.
Hi, Mommy.
I'll see you in a little bit, baby.
And it's gonna be a second.
Okay.
It's beef jerky still.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So, where I wanted to start at is, I wanted to start with the whole Antebellum movie, okay? So, I rented Antebellum last night.
Anti-melon?
Not Anti-Melon, shut up.
Hey, Anti-melon.
Lord Jesus. Anyway, watch the movie. Great movie. First of all, Janelle Monáe, you fucked that shit up. Back to the real part of this movie, though. I've started noticing something. Us as a melanated community, when we tend to watch horror movies or when we pay to go see a horror movie, Freddy and Jason don't bother us. Texas Chainsaw Massacre don't bother us. Movies like Hostel does not bother us. Those movies, things of that nature, we think they alright movies, but they really don't bother us. They don't trigger us. We just like, oh damn, that was a cool movie. Girl, yeah, that scared the shit out of me. But, no harm done. Then you have people that make scary movies specifically pertaining to us. And we don't get stuck in the scary movies of, oh, this lady's crazy and she's coming after you to kill you. No, we live that shit every day. There's always somebody's bitter baby mama, or somebody's mama who don't like the baby mama, or somebody who does not like the female, period. And then all of a sudden, the mom is either crazy or the baby mom and the girlfriend is running over around causing all of these problems. So look here, those horror movies that talk about people being stalked and all of that, we tend to live that shit on a daily basis. So that really ain't no horror movie to us. But when I say it's been really sort of hitting home and triggering some of us, like the movie Get Out. If you think it's a goat, if you think that movie is a game, you better check again. You better check again. And with the movie Antebellum last night that we watched, when I say it literally had me on the verge of not knowing whether I wanted to be mad or cry, because they were literally showing scenes in this movie where Janelle Monáe had clearly been abducted. And she was forced to work in this cotton field. She was forced to pretty much be, a sex slave to this person. But as they're sitting here picking cotton and stuff, you still seeing airplanes and you still seeing like stuff like the Murray's hair grease. And I'm like, bruh, they didn't have no Murray's back then. What the fuck going on? So as we watching this movie, I'm seeing little breadcrumbs and stuff throughout the movie, and I'm like, bruh, wait a minute. I see they have her in a past situation, but a lot of this shit going on around her ain't no past. That shit happens now. So we continue watching the movie or whatever, and I'm all into it, like, what the fuck is going on? This bitch done been branded and everything. What is going on? And literally, it goes all the way back to the beginning about how her and her girlfriends were out, celebrating. She was doing a conference or whatever, and she had flown out to a different place. She was in Louisiana or whatever. And pretty much, she was abducted. Okay? She was kidnapped. And I know for a fact with me and my sister growing up, if one person was leaving the club, we all left the club. If one person was ready to go home, then we all were going home. There was no, you're going your way, you're going your way, and hopefully we'll make it home safe. No. I am my sister and my brother's keeper, so if one of our asses is going home, baby, everybody going home. And we're going to make sure everybody gets home safely on top of that. So that's sort of how me and my sisters work whenever we decided to go out. We never split off with nobody. That never happened. So for her to leave her friends or whatever and get in a car by herself and literally was being abducted. And then there was a part in the movie where she was sitting in the shed after she had been branded. And she was sitting there quiet and everything after, of course, the girl, her friend had came back to the plantation and had knocked on the door or whatever. And she was like, so, what's the plan? Now, at first when the girl was like, hey, yo, what's the plan? I'm sitting here in the beginning of the movie like, baby, y'all runaway slaves. You're going to have to really think about this plan, sweetie. And then that's when I'm like, wait a minute. How is that in the past? Did this man wholeheartedly pull out a cell phone? Did the nigga just pull out a cell phone? He pulls out a cell phone off a motherfucking horse and gets to talking. So at this point in the movie, I said self, and myself said, And they said, bitch, these ain't horror movies, they just showing y'all. You know that, right? These are not just horror movies that they showing y'all. You know that, right? And literally after I said self and myself said, we both turned and looked at Spirit and was like, all right, Spirit, what you trying to tell me? Because I know my situation, I know my place, I know my space, and I already know I don't like driving in other people's lane. Period. But you got me watching this movie for a reason, so there's a deep message in here. As we watching this movie and the movie progress, okay? It gets to the point she done met up with another person there, and they're literally, they are whistling lift every voice and sing as if they are still slaves. And literally, when they started whistling that, it made me go back to that point in the beginning of the movie where the light-skinned girl had showed up to her cabin and was like, hey, yo, so what's the plan? And then it dawned on me during the movie when it had jumped to the future as to where Janelle Monáe, what she was really doing, what was her place in space in this movie. She was a liberator. She was doing all of these conferences about liberating yourself. We're not living in the past anymore. And that was one of the main things. It says we're not living in the past, but the past can never stop being relived. Like literally. So with that concept, with seeing them being in this slave plantation, seeing cell phones pop up, and seeing airplanes, but these people are still picking fucking cotton. And I'm sitting here watching this movie as they have these row of slaves lined up, and there's 4 white men, there's a line of slaves. And at this point in the movie, I'm like, so we not gonna knock this nigga off his motherfucking horse and kill their asses, right? That's what we're not doing, right? It's more of us than it is on these horses, and we're not doing that. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I'm doing the whole Bugs Bunny right now. Have y'all ever seen that cartoon where he be standing on top of Elmer Fudd's head with his toes and his fingers be doing this to his scalp? That's how I was watching that movie, okay? I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Spirit, and all of this was just going ham. And I'm still sitting here. Spirit, what you trying to tell me? Spirit, what you trying to tell me? Spirit, what is you trying to tell me? I know you thought let me say. So we continue watching the movie. And then it dawned on me, the reason this girl, like I said, the reason she was all amped up, man, what we finna do? What's the plan? I know you got a plan. This is the same person that in the real world was talking about liberation, talking about freedom, talking about the only thing that you have to lose are your chains. All right. And this literally comes back into play of a dream that I had about 3 years ago. When I had a dream about me, my sister, and my daughter driving through a cotton field. And the moon was so huge. The moon looked like it was getting ready to crash into the earth. It was so big and close. And as we're driving down this long stretch of road, we start seeing stars crash into these cotton fields around us as we're on this road. And as the stars are slamming down into the cotton fields around us, my daughter is like, Mom, there's spirits popping up. There's spirits everywhere. And literally everywhere a star crashed on the cotton field, a spirit had popped up. Now, I had already taken that message years ago that the spirits were returning. Yes, great, fine, dandy, got it. Bunch of new star seeds coming. Great. So I already knew that part was happening. But with watching this movie, it triggered me. And it didn't trigger me in a bad way, but it literally made me stop and replay a lot of the events that are going on in history right now. It made me stop and think about all of these people that have been missing. It made me stop and think about all of that because during the movie, like I said, this girl had addressed her and what we gonna do? You are the liberator. You're the person that's leading people to freedom and stuff. So what is your plan? And before Janelle Monáe could really execute a real plan of freedom for them, the girl hung herself. Death is better than bondage. Death is better than bondage. So the girl could not wait for her to figure her shit out. So she committed suicide. Death is better than bondage. Now, once again, the part that blew me was because I'm thinking it's a slave plantation, all of this good stuff. But the girl who hung herself got a tattoo on her ankle. a tattoo. Not just any tattoo. That bitch got a butterfly tattoo on her ankle. So, of course, now at this point, I'm realizing that this bitch got a butterfly tattoo on her ankle and she being hung on a slave plantation. They done had access to a cell phone. They done already sat here and seen planes flying over. I said self and myself said, they telling us something. They telling us something right now. Not later, right now. They're making us aware of things right now. And like I told a lot of you guys that are worried about election and voting and all of that, look, man, this next warfare is not a physical warfare, period. Okay? What movie is this? The name of the movie is called Antebellum by Jordan Peele. And it's a horror movie. And the only reason they call it a horror movie is because it's going to horrorize the shit out of us. It don't affect white people at all. And it's a horror movie to us because it's still happening. We are still under New Age slavery. Which goes to the point that my husband made. So is slavery a choice? Oh, yes, I know quite a few of you guys are getting ready to unfriend me today. Because was slavery a choice? Because I'm sitting here watching this movie. This girl calling 911. Look, she done been raped. She done been branded. She's sitting over here playing 007. Trying to do back bends and flip over this man, not trying to wake his dumb ass up. Baby, it wouldn't have been no creeping over that nigga. I'd have jumped on top of him with my motherfucking pillow and we would have smothered his ass to death. It wouldn't have been no tiptoeing. And that puts me in the mindset to let you guys know, stop saying that y'all not y'all ancestors. Stop saying that you're not your ancestor. Because the real shit is, all of our ancestors, if you are in the US of A, we had those ancestors that was like, what? Die? I don't know about dying, but 50 lashes a day. I mean, I got tough skin. We can take it. So yeah, a lot of y'all that I am not my ancestors. Yes, you are. We come from them same ancestors that chose life of servitude and slavery versus death being better than living in bondage. That was a choice that was made for us. And now we are continuing with that choice. How are we continuing with that choice? What the fuck do you think a real 9 to 5 is? I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. What do you think a real 9 to 5 is? A real 9 to 5 means that you have to invest your time, energy, and ability into somebody else's dream to manifest, not yourself. You're getting up every day and you're working somebody else's dream. You're getting up every day and putting your energy into somebody else's intent. But where do you have that energy and intent to put back to you? I mean, literally, since they can't walk in your shit no more and kick your shit in, because we've tried that already. And it didn't go so well. So now it's spiritual warfare time. And literally, was slavery a choice? Because at some point in time, after seeing generation on the slave plantation, you mean to tell me that there are over 300 slaves on this plantation and there are only 36 white overseers and one master? And at no point in time did anybody say, fuck this shit, we out. Really? All of these slaves on this plantation, and literally nobody came to the idea, hey yo, it's 300 of us. There's 36 of them. Yeah, we might take some L's. Day may not make it to Christmas. But sacrifices got to be made. If we're going to live in this freedom, we have to take what's ours. And at no point in 500 years have we stopped doing that. And those that have stopped are also murdered and becoming martyrs. Just saying. So literally it put me in the mindset of Janelle Monáe speaking all of this stuff into existence. Oh, I can show you the way out. I can liberate us. The women's time is now. Yeah, I saw all of that, but at the end of the day, Spirit was like, oh, so you not your ancestors, huh? We'll see. And allowed her to fall into a place and space and a position to where she was kidnapped and transported to a reenactment of Antebellum and slavery. She had been kidnapped to a real live reenactment park. And finally got to the point in the movie where she was like, no, bitch, I'm not my ancestors. I will lynch your ass the same way you did my people. And I ain't gonna lie, when she sat here and strung that white girl up behind that horse and she took off riding, baby, I was in here, yes, bitch, you better ride. Ride that motherfucker. Boop. And when she cracked that head, I was like, oh, there it is. Some of y'all have to realize what you're speaking over yourself when you say, I am not my ancestor. Okay. Because what you're failing to realize that a lot of those spirits, a lot of those ancestors, a lot of those people, places, things, and habits and things that we're seeing right now, we're being checked on. A lot of you guys are, oh, I'm not taking the mark of the beast. I'm not doing that. But you still switching your money to digital currency, right? Question for all of you guys that are doing that digital currency shit. So when your car gets stranded on the highway, how are you supposed to access your digital money from Bitcoin? How are you going to pay the tow people from Bitcoin in an emergency? Meaning that if they're switching the money from physical to digital, how the fuck are you going to access your digital currency in a real life situation? An emergency. How does that work? Oh, well, no, wait. If it's turning into a digital currency, you sort of have to have a digital way to get it, right? Okay, cool. Somebody had mentioned banks to me. Oh, well, they'll still have the banks. No, they won't. There'll be no need to have a bank. Hell, there'll be no need to have a bank at all. Because if everything is digital, it's already counted and counted for. The purpose of the bank was to hold the physical evidence of money. But guess what? They're not doing that anymore. They're not going to have a need for it anymore. So once again, once all of this goes, how are you accessing your digital money in case of an emergency? Oh, wait. I got it. Remember them little chips they started inserting into people a while ago? It started in Sweden, and now it's here in like Idaho, Wyoming. And what I'm talking about is literally the chip that they've been implanting in your hand. The chip that literally has your information, your money, your health. Everything will be on this chip. Don't that sound sort of like the mark of the beast? Because if you don't get this chip, you're not allowed to certain places. Just like with this whole COVID testing. You have to prove that you've had COVID testing before you go to certain places. You have to have that chip in your hand to access your digital money. Because they need to make sure you're monitored at all times. And how am I able to talk and speak on that? I was a soldier in the military, so I already know what the fuck is up. I've been down the cattle prodding line. And I've been poked and stabbed like a motherfucking piece of government-issued cattle property. So yeah, I done been down that. Been there and done that. So those of y'all that are rushing into this Bitcoin with all of these higher-ups, you have to realize these higher-ups done already sort of signed their contract, made their deal and stuff in life. They solidified to take that mark of the beast. They already know the program because they helped create the program. But, you jumping on the bandwagon not realizing the long-term effect. Because if you have to scan every time you need something or want something, they're going to track you. They're going to track you. They're going to keep account of how much money you're getting. Where did that money come from? What are you spending it on? How are you spending it? How are you paying this? They are going to know every fucking thing you're doing now. And for those of us that are going to choose not to take that chip and to not live on the grid like that, it's finna be hard as hell, because it's literally going to be survival of the fittest. Either you're going to nut up or you're going to shut the fuck up. And we're being put in a position of, oh, we're not our ancestors. We're not our ancestors. Well, guess what? A lot of y'all that sat here screaming up and down that you weren't your ancestors but are still doing the same shit your ancestors doing, your ancestors are the one that's blocking y'all asses. They've realized where they made their mistake at. But the thing about spirituality and the blood is people are literally charged for taking care of whatever the last generation could not complete or could not finish or could not break. And the fact that we've allowed a lot of things to go on in our community, there are a lot of things in our community we've allowed. Okay? We've allowed that shit. So when are you going to stop? When are we going to stop making excuses for that? Because if you're not spiritually aware, guess what? They are already. They've been aware and in power since the whole Luciferian thing began. They are those 13 families of power. They are those people that control the planet. And why do 13 families of power need to have control of a planet? That's for a whole nother video. That right there is going to start me in a whole nother direction with this live, okay? Because I can talk about that as well. I'm going to tell you now, y'all better stop saying that y'all not y'all ancestors. Because some of y'all are out here looking and acting just like your ancestor. And now your ancestors are realizing that they are stuck and trapped between realms because of the choices and decisions that they've made in the past. So guess who has to make the atonement and cleanse them and bring them back and give them that clarity and that release? Guess who's in charge for that now? You. When you decided that you wanted to live in your truth, you took that burden on. When you decided that you wanted to speak your mind, you took that burden on. When you decided that you were really, really ready to heal your shadow self and to heal a lot of those generational curses and things, you took that on. So now you're being charged to do what you said you wasn't going to do. It's one thing to sit here and say, oh, I'm not my ancestors, but now you're charged with really not being them. By making better decisions. By actually paying attention to the choices that you're not only making for yourself, but for your children and for your family. Now y'all being forced to actually step back and look at people, places, and situations and being like, wait a minute. Wait the fuck a goddamn minute. Because the one thing that has blown me, the best part about this whole thing is for Trump to end up with COVID and still be doing all the elections and shit that he's been doing. Publicly. This whole time, not one government official has really had on any type of face mask during this whole thing. And another thing is, if they not sending their goddamn children back to them public schools, why the hell are y'all sending y'all kids? I'm just wondering. Stop making other people responsible for y'all kids. Stop making other people responsible for your livelihood. Meaning, if you really having a problem getting up every day for a 9 to 5, then maybe, baby, it's time for you to start your own business. It's time for you to start investing that energy back into yourself. And in the words of Major Payne, don't push the maybe, baby. Get it together. So watching that movie last night, honey, it really coincides with me being Harriet Tubman in the past life. It also coincides with me being that revolutionary at Igbo Landing in the past life. It coincides with me with why I'm so deeply attached to, hey, y'all gotta get up. Wake the fuck up. We're repeating history again, and you're choosing it this time. You're choosing this mentality this time. Y'all choosing to get up and do this shit this time. You don't have to be living in the hood and the projects. You choosing to. Because you don't want to put forth the work and the effort and the hard work that is going to actually take to fight the system. And at some point, you really got to understand you ain't even got to fight the system. You just got to know how to work it the same way they do. It's quite easy. They show it to you in your face all the time. But whether you pay attention to it or not is a completely different story. And it sort of bothers me when our people are like, well, you can't really trust what white people say because it's whitewashed, this, that, and the third. Yeah, you're right. It is whitewashed. It is covered up. But at the end of the day, they know more about us than we do because we still thinking that we ain't shit half the time. We still running around murdering each other and blaming it on dumb shit, thinking that it's cute. We're sitting here beating our little girls and calling them hoes and bitches and shit and not really addressing the fact that they done got that hoe ass bitch ass shit from us as women, period. Don't be sitting there calling her a little bitch and calling her a little hoe and she gonna be pregnant. Ain't that the same shit your mama said to you? So why are you still inflicting that same trauma onto your child? Grow up. Just saying. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And if you still speaking death over your children, you are still passing on that generational bullshit. And I'm going to really need you to get it together. Because at this point, like I said, this is no longer a physical warfare, you guys. This is a spiritual warfare now. And the fact that they are using a lot of our spirituality, such as Ifa, Islamic Jihad, they're using all of that stuff in a negative way against us. They're using all of that against us now. So if you really are not about being free in spirit and really allowing spirit to guide you and teach you, stop lying to yourself when you say you're not your ancestor because you're doing the exact same thing your ancestors did, which was choose the easy way out. Thank you, Spirit. I hear you loud and clear. They chose their choices. They made their choices for what was best for them at that time. And you have to understand, they made those choices for what was best for them at that time. The fact that now it's 2020 and we still going through all of this, that's a choice. And literally it stopped and it made me think of what in the hell could have really made us choose this type of lifestyle. As a people, as a community, after watching Antebellum, what in the hell made us still choose this? Or is that being complacent and being lazy and not knowing better and choosing not to know better to do better? Because I've realized that a lot of people, as long as there's nobody telling them, they like to sit on that fact of, well, didn't nobody tell me that, so how was I supposed to know? Because you've grown. You have a sense of right and wrong. It may not be good, it may not be balanced, and it may not be like everybody else's, but you know for a fact that shit that is done to you, you don't like it. So if you don't like it, why the hell would somebody else? Okay? So, keep that in mind when y'all really out here preaching and teaching of, I am not my ancestors. I am not going for this. I am not going for that. Alright. If you really ain't going for it, then what is your plan to break out of that mindset? What plan do you have set for yourself moving forward? Instead of setting money aside for your fucking Bitcoin, have you set money aside to have some land? Because you do realize the only reason that they've upped the rent 3 times the rent is because a lot of people now are out of homes due to COVID. And now they got all these places and these banks running out of shit to back what was owed. So either you gonna pay 3 times the rent or you just gonna get your own shit. And if you don't get your own shit, you ass out, bitch.
Bitch. What's my favorite word?
Really?
Bitch.
And that's really what it is. You investing into this, into that, into your trades and shit. What make you think you even gonna have access to that once they realize that you are African American in the future?
Bitch.
I mean, seriously. And those of us that have done that DNA.com, and yeah, I've done it too. What really make y'all think that y'all finna have the same rights, rules, and regulations as them in this upcoming new world? If we haven't been having the same rights, regulations as them, if we've never had any of that before,
no, I will not open it.
if we really had all of that before, what make you really think it's finna be like that now? Which is why these spirits keep coming back repeatedly. Reincarnate after reincarnate after reincarnate. Because we keep making the same goddamn mistakes over and over and over and over.
There goes some. Stop playing Tokyo Drift.
Stop it.
Like, come on, man.
Oh,
If you knew your granddaddy and them was molesting children and stuff growing up, don't be scared when it happened to your daughter, because that was a situation you chose not to address in life. So now it's gonna keep following them in death. If you know for a fact that alcoholism has been running through your blood, you might want to check why. That don't mean sit there and go buy you a 50 Henny and sit there every motherfucking Friday and Saturday and say, well, this is just what it is. No, you're choosing that shit, so shut the fuck up. That's a choice.
Hello.
Come on in, son. You're still making that choice. And if you're making that choice to be that fuckhead ass type of a person, I don't want to hear y'all coming on my shit talking about I ain't like my ancestors. Because them was the same ancestors that chose life and to be a slave, which is why we stuck in the slave mentality now. We stuck in the same shit now because of that. It's right there. Mm-hmm. So if you really not ready to go jump in front of your husband when a gun is pulled, I don't want to hear it. If you're not really ready to go confront them people at y'all family gatherings to keep taking advantage of these innocent children, I don't want to hear it. If you're really not ready to look at yourself, your own place and space, and really do some real shadow work and heal so that you can move forward with generational blessings instead of these lessons, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Because the next person to sit here and hit me with the, oh, I'm not my ancestors, you can't do. So, what chains of freedom, what chains of bondage have you broken to instill your freedom? What moves are you putting into place to get your freedom? Because I hope you realize we still slaves. How are we still slaves? Because they've given us choices to our choices. We're still sitting here thinking we are free of choice. And literally, it's like they're giving you choice A, B, and C. But you have free choice of A, B, and C. Bitch, them still choices. If you telling me I can only choose between A, B, and C, you still giving me choices. So fuck that. I'm going to choose D, E, and F. When are you going to get to that responsible state of mind? Of, I'm not just going to watch out for my back. I'm sorry. I am my brothers and sisters' keepers. So I tend to watch out for everybody in my little bubble. I don't pick and choose. Because I realize that I came from those ancestors that did not have the best mentality going forward. But I know better. So I'm charging myself and my people to do better. Hard head make a soft ass. And right now, these new cuffs of slavery that they slapping on us, they ain't no joke. And like my husband said, so now it sort of makes you look at everything like, so are these people really dying of COVID and shit, or are they coming up missing and being taken somewhere else? And like the man said in the movie, just because you stop me and you stop this here, there are thousands of us, seen and unseen. Where you stop one, there are plenty of others. So how long we gonna sit here and realize that America ain't nothing but a plantation? And if you don't have the money to buy your freedom, you working your ass off for something that ain't free. You working your ass off for your slave position. Which is why managers feel the right to say things when they are entitled and higher up. I'm going to tell you now. You come to me with that shit and I'm going to beat your ass. I ain't got time. I'm not my ancestors. I can't do what they've done. I can't allow the trauma that they have allowed. I cannot make the choices that they've made because the choices they made put me in this fuck-ass position of no longer having choices. So no, I cannot say I am my ancestors. I can say that I am their wildest dream because fuck yeah, I say everything that they wish they could have said. I do everything that they wish they could have done. And for those white women that sat there and uncrossed my great-grandmother and all of them, don't worry. I done beat y'all asses too at the riverside just for them. I am not my ancestors. I gives no fuck about throwing hot foot powder at your front door and standing there like this. Who gonna whoop my ass now? I don't believe in hiding my hands. If I want better for my future, I'm taking it. So fuck that Bitcoin, fuck all of that digital shit. I'm saving my money up for land. I'm saving my money up for my family, for my tribe, for us to really live the right way versus living under the surveillance camera. Just saying. So I hope somebody really understood the message in this live. And I really, really hope it touches some of your guys' opinion and ideas as to what freedom is and what's free and what's not. Because right now, if you hate going to your 9 to 5, you tired of being a slave. But that literally means you just tired of being a slave in one plantation. Now you got to go apply it another one. So really, you ain't done being a slave. You just don't like your owner at this one. So you got to go find another owner to pay you what you really feel you're worth. And even then, you're not being paid what you're worth. You're being paid what others feel you are worth to accomplish their stability. So with that being said, y'all know my motto. Namaste, you guys, but no, I'm going to stay over here. Holler!